Hello, readers. Welcome to 20 Questions with Your Favorite Author, where we ask authors important questions like, why would you agree to be on this podcast? I'm Kelly Lynn Colby, Editorial Director at Cursed Dragon Ship Publishing. Our guest this week is Patrick Dugan, spec fic writer and avid gadget user. Patrick is the author of the award-winning Darkest Storm series, published by Falstaff Books. Other titles include Fate and Flux, a steampunk adventure, and Watchers of Asteria series from Distracted Dragon Press. He's an avid gadget user, and Patrick's also the Director of Technology Services for Authors Essentials. Not your favorite now, he will be after. Good evening, Patrick. Welcome.
Hey, how's everybody?
Not too bad, not too bad. We're ready to get this party started. You in a partying mood?
I am. I'm all set.
I love it. I love it. Let's see. So on your thing, it said that you're an avid gadget user. Do you have a favorite one that you just can't live without?
My 3D printers. So
nice.
I've got two Purges that I use all the time, more than I probably should. So that's my hobby, is 3D printing stuff.
I love it. Whenever authors tell me that they have this cool hobby and they really love it, in my head I'm just thinking, procrastination tool. I get it. Yes. Yeah, I get this. Yep. Yes, no, Zafel, you do not need a 3D printer. And Vicky's jealous too. Maybe y'all can split one. So, if you could get rid of one aspect of your writing and have a gadget do it for you, which aspect would that be?
Editing. Oh my God, I'd love to get rid of editing.
Which kind of editing? Like story editing, or like there's supposed to be a comma here editing?
Both. If I could just get a gadget to like record what's in my head and just put it on the page, that'd probably be good too. But having something go through and fix everything is, I guess, per writing aids about as close as I get to that. It at least tells me where the commas should be.
True. It can be helpful as long as you told it the proper style to use.
Yes.
Excellent. Yes. Yeah. Commas are a nightmare. And you said that you have your own publishing house. Do you have like your own guide for like where you want commas that might be different? Like, do you have any kind of thing like that?
Right now, no, because it's just me. I actually just started a educational publishing company called Educated Dragon instead of the Distracted Dragon, and we're starting to publish books about education. My wife is a education coach, and
nice.
We've got 6 or 7 authors that are going to start publishing through Educated Dragon on how to do virtual school and blended learning and all sorts of stuff like that. So kind of on both sides of the road, so nonfiction and fiction. So
that's pretty cool. Cover all your bases. Lots of different writers, lots of different readers out there. So as a writer, how long did it take you to write your first book?
My first book took me about 10 years.
I'm so glad you said that, because it took me so long to write mine, and everyone's like 3 months, 6 months. I'm like, I'm going to stop asking this question. Thank you. Right? It can't take forever for that first book, can it?
Well, because you don't know what you're doing. And it's like, and then you start reading it and you're like, oh, this is garbage. And so you like put it away, and then you don't look at it for 3 months. I actually met Kevin Hearn, the Iron Druid author. And he was here signing books, and I said, hey, I'd love to buy you a beer. And there's Sir Edmund Halley's right down below Park Road Books, so that works out well. And so we went down there, and a bunch of us, and he said, tell me about your book. And I did. And he said, why isn't it done? And I said, well, because, he said, excuses, sit your butt in the chair and get it done. And then I had it done 3 months later.
Good for him.
Yep.
He gave you permission. See, some of us need permission.
He just gave me a kick in the butt to get going. I was too busy in being in my own head instead of just writing it. So, because you can't edit a blank page. So you just have to write and then fix it afterwards.
Fix it later. You just got to get it done. It's not going to be perfect even then. So just get it done. It's a lot easier to fix words on a page than it is to make a blank page not blank anymore.
Yes.
So which of your books challenge you the most?
I'm going to say Unbreakable Storm. That was the second book, and it was because I had published the first one. So I kind of knew I could do it, but then it was like, I'm not sure I can do this again. But I had a 3-book contract, so I kind of had to. So that one was challenging. Once I finished the second book, then I kind of was like, oh, now I know how to do it. I've kind of got my rhythm down, you know. And
You were
then,
like, I don't have another 10 years. I need to get this thing
yes,
done.
yeah.
Awesome.
So I went from 10 years to 6 months. So
That's quite an improvement.
I thought that was a pretty good improvement.
I love it. Deadlines are powerful.
And somewhat scary.
Somewhat scary, a lot scary.
Especially when John Hartness is the one on the other end of the deadline.
Oh, yeah. Oh, yeah. He'll give it to you. He'll make sure. Well, I know that most authors tend to pull from what's familiar. Which one of your characters do you relate to the most?
Probably Cyclone Ranger. That's he is one of the gifted in the Darkest Storm series, but he's the dad. So he is the somewhat voice of reason. He is the protector, the go-to. So I have 2 kids of my own, so that was probably written as close to me as you get.
That's awesome. Have your kids read your books? I don't know how old they are, so no. Yeah.
They're 23 and 19. So yes.
Definitely old enough. Yeah. So.
Yes. Yep, they both read it. So actually, my son is always like, I got it read to me. I had the first audiobook because he was like 12 when I was writing it. So I would sit at night and read him the previous day's chapters. So
that's awesome.
My first
now
audience,
that's motivation too, right?
I had a captive audience.
He sounds like he enjoyed it. I think it's okay.
He did.
Well, speaking of Stormforged, you managed to create a world inhabited by people with superpowers, right? So gifted, as you call them, right? Who are the outcasts, right? Yes. So they're not the heroes, they're the outcast. And you also mixed it with the sadly typical modern high school experience for outcasts. So they're outcasts, but they're still experiencing, high school bullying and, not fitting in high school and where do you belong. And then you just blended it together in a way that was so seamless. Like, what gave you the idea for this story?
So my son Nick loved Power Rangers. Obsessed over Power Rangers.
Always on TV.
Yes. So we would sit on Saturdays and I would, be doing whatever I was doing, and he would literally sit for 8 hours and watch Power Rangers. And I was sitting there doing the dishes, and I was like, if I lived in Angel Grove, I'd move. Because every episode, they trashed the city. And I'm like,
right?
I'm like, after a while, you just be like, you either need to leave or we do, because this is crazy, because they're only coming here because they're attacking you. And then I started thinking, like, in all the superhero books, they do, or, comic books, they do the same thing. It's like you trash New York over and over. And after a while, I figured people would get sick of it and they'd say, out, we're done. And so
we don't need you no more.
Yes. And so, well, you're causing your own problems because it's the superheroes fighting the other superheroes that are the supervillains that is causing all the problems. So if none of you are here, we don't have this problem anymore. And so that's kind of where the idea came from. And then I had read a lot of superhero books when I was thinking about writing this. And a lot of them are, you have a power and you have a cardboard cutout for a character. It's basically your power is your personality.
Identity.
And so I really wanted to look at these kids as people before they became superheroes. And so that's when I decided to start them off with something that, unfortunately, most of the people who are avid readers have dealt with, which is bullying.
Yep.
And so I started there because I felt like you really got to know Tommy as a person before he finds out what his powers are, and before he can actually do anything to stop people from being nasty to him. And so I thought it was a really good mix. That it really brought out like stuff that everybody has dealt with in their life, but then goes on to be like this fantastical story.
Well, I like it too because it's a YA with a male main character.
Yes.
I've often said their middle grade is dominated by male characters. There's not enough female main characters. Yep. And then YA is dominated by female lead characters and there's not enough male. So it's kind of nice to see, to get that male in the YA.
And same with urban fantasy. most of the urban fantasy, main characters are female. So I thought it was a little bit of a different twist. Having a male protagonist seems odd being a twist, but it is. But I also, one of the things I've gotten back from a lot of people who read it is that I write really strong female characters. And so I wanted to make sure that I had representation across the board, that, this was just not like a teenage boy book. This is, there's a character in there for any flavor of person who picks it up.
Excellent, excellent. Well, on a completely different genre, your steampunk novels, Fate and Flux is the first one.
Yep.
It starts immediately with a threat to a character. And so it had like the same kind of feeling as Stormforged, as in you get right into character development right at the beginning. And how important is it to you to set the tone immediately in your novels?
That is the number one priority for me. I want, when you pick up one of my books, I want that book set the second you read the first sentence. I want you invested in the character. I don't, because I think, the big thing with my books, for me, is that I want, memorable characters. I want, when you put the book down, I want you thinking about Tommy or Quinn or Victoria or any of those characters like they are friends. Like when you close the book, I want you to be like, oh, I really miss them. Or, God, I wish they'd write, he'd write more books with them.
Well, that's why people come back, right?
Right. And, so because, a great story is a great story, but if you don't have memorable characters, then you don't have that link with the book. It's like, oh, that was a fun story, but
Next.
Yeah. There's a reason Harry Potter is so popular.
Oh, yeah. Yeah. Especially as an editor, I see all kinds of things. I'm like, really? This shouldn't have been done. This should be this. But the characters are so compelling, you can't help yourself. It's like you forgive all of those flaws because the characters, you care about them so much. So, you're absolutely right. Absolutely right. Characters, rule one.
Yeah.
Well, what project that's in progress or not started are you most excited about? We want to know what's coming.
So my agent has a book called Rule Number 1: Never Steal from Dragons.
That's a good rule. I like that rule.
Which is it's a cyberpunk fairy book.
What? Oh my gosh! I'm already in love.
Book. And so it's set in a world where Earth becomes toxic to the hidden people of the world. So all of them leave. So
go where?
To another dimension where they call Harmony, which is in the dragons' rule. So the dragons are at the top of the food chain, and then there's pixies, and there's Nagula, and all sorts of different. I try to spread out my hidden people across all cultures. So there's an Egyptian myths, there's Japanese myths, there's Aztec myths in it, so on and so forth. So it's a fun book. It's a heist book. So it's Ocean's 11 set in a world of fairies. So
they're not following rule number 1 is what you're telling me.
Yeah. But I liked it so much I actually got the main character on my arm.
That's so cool.
My cyberpunk pixie thief. I can't talk to him. So her name is Gelsey. She is a 6 centimeter pixie who can then enlarge to about 5 foot.
Oh, nice.
So what I tried to do is take part of the myth as truth, and part of the myth is fake. And so each race of hidden people have a different way that they interact. So like my kitsune, she has the 9 tails. They spin around her and she can become anything. Ooh. So she's like my con artist. If you've ever watched Leverage, I love that's my favorite TV show. So it's very much an homage to Leverage. And so like Gelsey is Parker. Gina Bellman's character is the kitsune, so she can turn into any. So she can go from an orc to a dragon to a whatever she needs to be.
She's a grifter, man, grifter.
Yep. So she's the con artist. So it's just a fun book. It's just, and it was it was just so much fun to write. So I'm really hoping it it finds a home, and we get to publish it.
That sounds really exciting.
Yeah.
I want to read that now. I always get distracted by these new things. They're so fun. I love what people come up with. Yeah, Spy Cat loves Leverage too. And Friday Blue loves your shirt.
Oh, thank you. I got this at Dragon Con last year.
Nice.
So
Space Cowboys.
Yep. That's it's my jam. I have a whole wall of Cowboy Bebop over here.
See, that's nice. We surround ourselves with things we love, right? That's how it works. That's how it works. Life's hard enough. In my office, I want things I love.
Yes.
Well, if you could write, now talking about Space Cowboys, what project that's in progress or not started are you most excited about? Oh, wait, I just said that. No, hold on. That's not what I wanted to read. Spacing. Nope. I'm so sorry. I started reading. You're like, I just answered that question. Yes, you did. See, I get excited and then I get distracted. I need to be calm, right?
I run a distracted dragon press. I understand.
Telling you, man. That's probably what we should have named my life. If you could write in any world that wasn't your own, which world would that be?
Geez. Probably Amber. Roger Zelazny.
Okay.
9 Princes.
We've heard a lot about Zelazny on this podcast. That's incredible.
His stuff is great. The other one I would love to be in is Wild Cards, which is, superheroes. So that would.
And who's that? Who writes that?
That's George R. Martin, Melinda Snodgrass. That's their anthology series.
Gotcha.
So, Sherry Priest did the overarching story last time for the last series they did. And then they have authors that come in and fill in stories around the main plot. So it's a lot of fun. And Zelazny is actually in that. He has a character whose name's Croyd, who's the sleeper. And every time he falls asleep, he comes out with new power.
What?
It's fantastic. If you haven't read it, it's really good.
Huh. Man, with all the naps I like to take, I'd be super, super powered. Of course, who has time for that anymore, right? No. Og agrees with your answers. He says great answers.
Thank you.
Yes. We're here just to please. We're here to please. Right now, we're on a streaming network dominated by people playing video games, right? That's what Twitch is. My daughter knew what this was long before I did. So, I have to ask about WoW and your Blood Elf. I mean, that's awesome. How long have you been playing?
Since the game started.
Wow.
So I think I was about a month after launch. I picked it up. A buddy of mine was like, "Oh, you need to try this." And I was like, I had tried EverQuest, and I was like, no. And he's like, no, this is completely different. Yeah, and it was. And so,
that's so funny. We have the exact opposite. We were in love with EverQuest and never switched to WoW.
No. I just couldn't. When I couldn't get to my body, without escort, I decided not to play EverQuest anymore. Warcraft just, and it's actually funny. My daughter used to sit on my lap and fish. She loved to fish. So when she got old enough, I would just sit her in front of the computer and she'd fish. And I had to teach her how to go and sell all the fish at the vendor, because I'd get on raid night and I have no bag space. I'm throwing fish out like crazy. So
she's like, I caught all those.
Don't throw them away. They're worth money.
Oh, don't worry, Og. I got you covered. Yeah. I knew because Og also plays WoW, and he wants to know, what are your thoughts on gnomes in WoW?
I play Horde.
I'm sorry, you what?
I play Horde. So I play a Blood Elf. So
are they enemies with gnomes?
Yes, they're on the other side. So, bless you.
Thank you. Couldn't mute in time.
They are very tough in PvP because it's hard to target them. So it's much easier to target Draenei because they're so big. You just click on them and you have to tab to the damn gnomes.
Oh, Og says Blood Elves are too pretty. No, he can't get into it.
There is no such thing. Come on.
No such thing as too pretty.
Godiva is just, fantastic. So we'll just go with that.
That's awesome. So what is it about WoW? Does this game act as an escape or as an inspiration, or?
It really is. I love the lore. I love the storytelling. I love, and I mean, I used to raid all the time, and but when you work full time and write full time, um, something has to give. So, my daughter though has taken up the mantle. She's the number 7 hunter on her server. So,
Wow, good for
she,
her. She started with fishing and now she takes them all down.
yeah, she plays a hunter. Actually, she has a way back when there was a quest that you could do, and you went through and broke pots. And if you found
Isn't that
this,
Zelda? I'm very confused now. Hold on.
yes, so they were grave pots, so it's kind of a little bit different, but not quite.
Okay, all right,
You know,
all right.
but you could get this tiger that goes invisible, and so I would play all the time, and so I would log on as her hunter in the middle of the night because it was you had to go into Alliance territory to get it, and we play Horde, so I would go in and I would start breaking pots, and then if people realized I was there, then they would come try to gank me, and if I actually pulled up the tiger, they'd kill it before I could tame it. So
Oh,
so after
you're like
about
mine.
after about 2 months, I actually pulled up a tiger and nobody was there, and I tamed it for her. So she is, to this day, she still plays it. And
Oh,
the cat's name is Phantom, and I actually included him in my newest steampunk book.
did you? You have an invisible tiger in there.
Yep,
That's so cool.
yep. So the hunter, who is the main character of the third Watchers of Asteria book, Brule, he has an invisible cat that comes everywhere with him. So
That's so cool. Does everyone else think he's just crazy or?
no, because when when there's a fight, the cat comes out and you know
There is blood drawn.
yeah, don't piss off the kitty.
Excellent. So what else do you do to relax?
Um, I play a lot of games. I work on my 3D printers. I woodwork. I do a lot of crafts. So I do resin cutting boards. I have a small Etsy store where I sell 3D printing stuff, stuff like that.
Do you like make merchandise for your books or anything? Like, do you have something that's?
I do book stands for my books. So like I created this the other day, so that I can put my books on it at conventions and it looks cool. But I do also, I made stands for like our Square store, so when we're working the table, I can put the tablet on there so it's easier to work on, stuff like that. So I do that, and then I do just fun stuff. Like I eat a lot of pistachios when I write, so I made a pistachio bowl, but it's got a hole in the center, so you can actually put the shells in there, so they're not all over my desk, which is usually what happens.
That's smart. Who needs dip in there? You got to put the shells in there.
Yeah.
I like it. A dip bowl would work great for that. I'm gonna have to remember that. That is clever. Um, if you could live anywhere in the world, where would it be?
I'd probably live in Asheville, North Carolina. It is kind of a hippie commune, very liberal, lots of great beer, lots of good breweries. So
That's why it's on our list to visit. We have a
yes.
brewery addiction problem in our household.
Oh, when you come up, tell me, and I will come up there and meet you. My son goes to school at Asheville.
Yeah, we have some friends up there too, so
Yes.
we'll just all go and we're just gonna meet
Yes.
in Asheville. Greg might be able to come down. He's just up in Virginia.
Yep.
So not that far.
It is a great time. We go up usually once every 6 months or so. My wife and I will go up. We'll rent an Airbnb and just hang out and wander around and drink a lot of beer and have fun. And
sounds like Austin. That's what we do. We'll go to Austin like twice a year and do the same kind of thing. That's our Asheville, I guess.
Yeah, my best friend lives in Asheville, and that's on my bucket list to go to next.
To Austin?
Yep.
Well, see, when you go to Austin, call us.
I
We'll
will
show
tell
you
you
around. We've got that place down. We'll trade.
Yep.
I like that. It's fair. It's fair. Must be something with, cities that start with an A. We're going to have to do some research. Oh, no, more traveling. Oh, how sad.
Oh, no. Now that you can.
Yes, now that we can again. Of course, now that we can, we're just doing conventions.
Right.
Do you do a lot of conventions? Do you have fun? You said you have the stands for them, right? So what are your favorite conventions?
I did Dragon for the first time last year, and that was amazing. RavenCon's always a good one. And this year Terry Brooks is the guest of honor, and I've got a panel with him, so I'm very excited.
That's
Since
cool.
that was my first real fantasy author I read it growing up.
Mm-hmm.
So
a lot of our firsts, yep.
Yep. So Dragon, Charlotte, Carolina, Con Carolinas, Congregate. I do probably 10 to 12 conventions a year.
Nice.
So
That's what
it's
we
a lot
need
of
to
fun.
do.
And then I teach workshops on writer's tools. So I usually do a class on Scrivener, and then I do one on productivity tools. So like we'll talk about Evernote and Pro Rating Aid and a lot of those other tools that help writers be more productive and get their stuff out faster.
I might have to sign up for that. You get distracted, as you've seen me do tonight. Yeah. It doesn't help that you start a business and run that, right? Yeah.
Yep.
No, I feel you.
Yep.
I feel you. I feel you, writers. I get it. But we have to do it. We have deadlines.
Yep.
All right. Now we're into our important question, our lightning round with all the very important, maybe judgy questions. Are we ready? Are we ready?
Yep. Ready.
What is your favorite flavor of ice cream?
Mint chocolate chip.
I tell you, that's our most common answer, and I love it because it's mine too. Can zombies climb?
No.
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 I think the chat won. I think the chat said no. Oh, they did. They guessed it. Good for you. Good for you. Just for the record, that makes you, officially not with Og. It is what it is. Polos or button-ups?
T-shirts?
You're like, can I choose plan B? It's funny, Zafo and I are both wearing polos tonight. That's not typical, so that's kind of cool. What part of your daily routine is an absolute must?
Lately it's been Wordle in the morning.
Right.
That's my drink my Diet Mountain Dew and ease into my day time before work starts.
Nice. Yeah, I really like with my brain, as we've discussed already, it's nice that I can only play it once.
Yes.
Once. I can't just sit here all day and play it. What is your favorite band or musician?
Springsteen, probably. I've seen him many, many times. The next runner-up would be Rush, who I'd seen.
That's it. You gained back all of your points now. Good job.
So, I took my son when he was like 12 on the R40 tour, and they were in the middle of Cygnus. I looked over and he was sound asleep in the chair next to me. So,
see, Zafo. Somebody else maybe fell asleep at a Rush concert once. I don't know who that possibly could be.
It happens.
It happens. I don't know who that was. Look, man, I get tired, okay? Cats or dogs?
Dogs. So we have a Cavalier King Charles named Blaze, who's named after a character in Stormforged.
That's awesome. I love how your real life just gets sucked in. I'm always afraid to use people and things I know. And you're like, no, this is great. It's going in. I love it. Well, you have been awesome tonight, Patrick. And now that you are our new favorite author, where can fans find you and your work?
So the easiest place to find me is patrickdugan.net. Sign up for the newsletter. I put pictures of our overly cute dog in there every month and keep people up to date. Plus, I do giveaways and all sorts of fun stuff. So I'm on Facebook as Patrick Dugan Author. I'm on Twitter as pdugan, P_Dugan, and Instagram as Patrick Dugan Author. So, and that's where I am.
Excellent. So he's in all the places you are. So go find him. And now that Patrick is your new favorite author, please make sure to review his work. Also, review us wherever it is you get your podcasts. You can also follow us on Twitch or subscribe on YouTube. And we will see you next Tuesday at 8 p.m. Central on twitch.tv/CursedDragonship with Rachel Brune. Bye.
Bye.